Hey guys, welcome back to the second video. In this one I am going to show you how to actually answer these activities so that you get the most out of them. I'll try to rush through the stuff that we need to get through, but I'll also try to be as clear as I can. So this is question 1. You're going to fill this out copying me yourself just to get some practice, and then the rest of them you're going to go off and do yourself. So let's take a look at question 1. It's a standard IELTS writing task 2 question, and we're going to look at how we can paraphrase it using only word families. Now, in the later activities, you're going to be looking at synonyms and how to change the words and a few other things, but we're not going to do that now. So even some good opportunities for changing the words to a synonym, we're not going to do that. We're only going to look here at possibilities for changing the word formation. So can we turn that verb into a noun? Can we turn that adjective into a noun, etc., etc.? So let's have a look at what we can do. Question. It is inevitable that as technology advances, traditional cultures will be lost. It seems that we cannot have these two things together. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, for the purpose of this, I'm only paraphrasing the first sentence, okay? It is inevitable that as technology advances, traditional cultures will be lost. So, in every question you get here, I've already colored in the color of what kind of word form it is. So you've got blue for verb, you've got orange for adjective, red for noun, and purple for adverbs, which there aren't that many of. You've already got that there. The table at the top will tell you what is what, so you can get an idea of the colors. And each one, I've already plotted them into the table. So for every question, you're already going to see the words in the question in the table where they belong. Inevitable is an adjective, technology is a noun, etc. What your job to do is to fill out the rest of the table with the different words in that same word family, and also to find out if they actually exist, because not every word has a word belonging to each family, to each part of speech. Sometimes there's only one, sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 2. That's your job to find out. So let's take our first word, inevitable. We're going to go over to our trusty word family framework we still had there, and we're going to type in inevitable. Head word inevitable, which is an adjective. We also have an adverb, inevitably. Very short and easy one, that one. So adverb, inevitably. The other two I'm going to put a dash because there's nothing. Technology. Let's do the next one. Now, I know these words obviously, but if you don't, there's another step involved where you go and look them up and see how they're used in a sentence just to get a feel for them, because it's not to be assumed that you automatically know how to use them. You need some practice. Okay, so here we have our word technology. It's a noun. Then we move along here. IT, that's a different way of saying technology. We're not interested in that. Keep going along. We have an adjective, technological. Very important one. Technological. Is there a verb? No, there's not. There's another noun, tech, that's just shorthand. And then technologically, adverb. We'll put that in, but technologically, you won't see that come up very much. And again, how do you know that they're going to come up or not? Well, there's this program I'm going to show you about how frequent the word's used, but also it's about just paying attention. Advances. We're going to look at the verb. Advances. Where are we? Nothing. Try advance. All right. Advance is a verb. To move forward, there's quite a few different shades of the same verb, so that's another thing you need to be mindful of. If there's more than one meaning for a verb, you need to know which one is being used and which one's the most common one. Okay, so that comes from practice. You don't want to get caught out. Advance, move forward, forward movement, progress, all very similar kind of things. Now we have the verb already. We want the noun, so we've got advance. We've also got another noun up here, advancement. So I'm going to put them both in there. Now, again, if you don't know which one's the one to use, you're going to want to go and look it up. And some of the word reference forms are very good for that. So they can tell you which one's used. You can say advanced versus advancement, and there's a lot of great advice that comes back. I even use these sometimes. So, adjective advanced, we have advancement, and another advanced. So I would say advanced here is the adjective we want. So I'm going to put that in. And leave that out. Now, I'm going to fill the rest of these out myself because I know them, but tradition, traditional, there's no verb, and adjective, traditionally. Cultures, or I should say, culture, cultural, and culturally. Boom. So we've gone through for the framework, we've found all these. Great. Now you go down to the activities I've set you. Now there's a bunch of boxes and I've asked you to rewrite. So you're basically rewriting that sentence 3 times using what I've asked you to do. So the first one, I want you to use the word technological, the adjective form. So if you look up here, technology, the verb, the noun was used. We want you to use technological. So that means you have to change everything around that word in order to make it make sense. So for me, I know that I'm going to keep the same bit at the beginning. It is inevitable that with the technological advances now occurring. So you're like, oh my God, what did you do with all this extra stuff? Well, that's because I don't know how to spell. That's because I know that this phrase is going to have to be changed a lot. So instead of using that clause, I've just used a phrase instead, with the technological advances now occurring, and so I've used that as an adjective. Traditional cultures will be lost. So I can keep the rest the same. I don't have to change that one that much. Traditional cultures will be lost. Inevitably as an adverb. So we had the adjective here. We want inevitably. Now, because of that adverb, I'm going to change the rest of it quite a bit. So I'm going to change. I can't use it at the beginning, it won't work. I need to use it with a verb. Okay, so I'm going to say the advances, there you go, advances noun, in technology, 2 nouns, now occurring, will, should learn how to spell occurring, huh? Double R, maybe. Now occurring will inevitably lead. Now lead is our verb here, so I needed to attach it to a verb. Inevitably lead to the loss of traditional cultures. Now instead of it saying traditional cultures will be lost, it will lead to the loss. So I've actually changed loss to a noun instead of a verb. So you see how by changing one word, it's often necessary to change others. Now I need to stress that there is a million ways that this could happen. Like there is so many different options here. Some are better than others, but there's a lot of flexibility when you're confident with what works and what doesn't. And if you're not so confident, that's when you need to go back to your basic grammar exercises, which I'll be making in the future. Okay. And the final one, I want you to use the adverb of technologically and the adjective advanced. Okay, so I might do this for you. Copy, so we can actually see what we're working off. Okay, so they had technology as a noun and advances as a verb. We want technologically advanced. So we have to change the way that we approach it. Let's say it is inevitable still. That as, what can I do? that as So I actually have to think about this one for a sec. So technologically advanced. So what is going to be technologically advanced? How about the world? So I realize that that might actually get me into trouble. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to go, as the world becomes more technologically advanced, it is inevitable. So I have to put over there. So this happens to me also, that changing something, you really need to think about how it's going to flow the best. And this is obviously very challenging for you as a second language speaker, but by working with these phrases and these structures more and more, it becomes significantly easier. It is inevitable that traditional cultures will be lost. Boom. So now these are just 3 small examples. I could do many combinations of those combined together, as long as I'm respecting the rules of, okay, that needs to be followed by a noun, this requires a particular preposition, and things of that nature. We'd also be obviously changing some words for other words, for some synonyms, right? And maybe even using gerunds and other things, which I'll teach you in the coming lessons. But obviously we've restricted ourselves to only using the words that are there, which obviously limits our freedom, but it helps us practice the skill of word family. So I hope this has been helpful. I now want you to go and do the remaining 9 questions, or any amount of questions that you can, and hopefully they really help you build up this skill and get you on the road. Good luck.